सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। So today we will chant up to 23. Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam, Govindam Bhaj Mudhamate, Samprapte Sannihite Kale, Nahi Nahi Rakshati Dukrim Karne, Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam, Govindam Bhaj Mudhamate, Mudhajahi dhanagama trishnam, Kuru Satbuddhim manasi vitrishnam, Yallabhase nijakarmopatam, Vittam tena vinodaya chittam, Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam, Govindam Bhaj Mudhamate, Naristana Bharanabhidesham, Drishtva Maga Mohavesham, Etanamansav Sadivikaram, Manasi vichintaya varam varam, Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam, Govindam Bhaj Mudhamate, Nalini dalagata jalamati taralam, Tatvajivitamati chapalam, Vitti Vyadhyabhimanagrastam, Lokam shokahatam cha samastam, Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam, Govindam Bhaj Mudhamate, Yavat Vittoparjana Saktah, Tavat Nija Parivaro Rakta Paschad Jivati Jara Jara Dehe, Vartam Kopina Prachati Gehe, Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam, Govindam Bhaj Mudhamate, Yavat Pavano Nivasati Dehe, Tavat Pruchati Kushalam Gehe, Gatavati Vayau Dehapaye, Bharya Bipyati Tasmin Kaye, Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam, Govindam Bhaj Mudhamate, Balastavat क्रीडा सक्तः तरुणस्तावत् तरुणी सक्तवृद्धस्तावत् चिन्तासक्त परमे ब्रह्मणि कोऽपि न सक्त भज गोविन्दं भज गोविन्दं गोविन्दं भज मूढमते काते कान्ता कस्ते पुत्रः संसारोऽयमतीव विचित्र कस्य त्वं ककुत आयात तत्त्वं चिन्तय तदिह भ्रात भज गोविन्दं भज गोविन्दं गोविन्दं भज मूढमते सत्सङ्गत्वे निस्सङ्गत्वं निस्सङ्गत्वे निर्मोहत्वं निर्मोहत्वे निश्चलतत्वं निश्चलतत्वे जीवनमुक्ति भज गोविन्दं भज गोविन्दं गोविन्दं भज मूढमते वयसि गते कामविकार शुष्के नीरे काकसार क्षीणे वित्ते का परिवारो ज्ञाते तत्त्वे कः संसार भज गोविन्दं भज गोविन्दं गोविन्दं भज मूढमते वयसि गते कामविकार शुष्के नीरे काकसार क्षीणे वित्ते का परिवारो ज्ञाते तत्त्वे कः संसार भज गोविन्दं भज गोविन्दं गोविन्दं भज मूढमते मा कुरु धन जन यौवन गर्वं हरति निमेषत् काल सर्वं मायामयमिदम् अखिलं बुद्ध्वा ब्रह्मपदं त्वं प्रविश विदित्वा भज गोविन्दं भज गोविन्दं गोविन्दं भज मूढमते दिन्यामिन्यौ सायं प्रातः शिशिरवसन्तौ पुनरायात काल क्रीडति गच्छति आयु तदपि न मुञ्चति आशावायु भज गोविन्दं भज गोविन्दं गोविन्दं भज मूढमते काते कान्ता धनगत चिन्ता वातुल किं तव नास्ति नियन्ता त्रिजगति सचल संगति रेखा भवति भवार्णवतरणे नौका भज गोविन्दं भज गोविन्दं गोविन्दं भज मूढमते जटिलो मुण्डीलुञ्चित केशः काषायाम्बर बहुकृतवेष पश्यन्नपि च न पश्यति मूढ उदरनिमित्तं बहुकृतवेष भज गोविन्दं भज गोविन्दं गोविन्दं भज मूढमते अंगं गलितं पलितं मुण्डं दशनविहीनं जातं तुण्डं क्रुद्धो याति गृहीत्वा दण्डं तदपि न मुञ्चति आशापिण्डं भज गोविन्दं भज गोविन्दं गोविन्दं भज मूढमते अग्रे वह्नि पृष्ठे भानुरात्रौ चुबुक समर्पितजानु करुतलभिक्षा तरुतलवास तदपि न मुञ्चति आशापाश भज गोविन्दं भज गोविन्दं गोविन्दं भज मूढमते कुरुते गङ्गासागरगमनं व्रत्परिपालनमथवा दानं ज्ञानविहीन सर्वमतेन भजति न मुक्तिं जन्मशतेन भज गोविन्दं भज गोविन्दं गोविन्दं भज मूढमते सुरमन्दिरतरुमूलनिवासः शय्या भूतलम् अजिनं वास सर्वपरिग्रह भोगत्याग कस्य सुखं न करोति विराग भज गोविन्दं भज गोविन्दं गोविन्दं भज मूढमते योगरतो वा भोगरतो वा सङ्गरतो वा सङ्गविहीन यस्य ब्रह्मणि रमते चित्तं नन्दति नन्दति नन्दत्येव भज गोविन्दं भज गोविन्दं गोविन्दं भज मूढमते भगवद्गीता किञ्चिदधीता गङ्गाजललवकणिका पीता सकृदपि येन मुरारिसमर्चा क्रियते तस्य यमेन न चर्चा भज गोविन्दं भज गोविन्दं गोविन्दं भज मूढमते पुनरपि जननं पुनरपि मरणं पुनरपि जननी जठरे शयनम् इह संसारे बहुदुस्तारे कृपया पारे पाहि मुरारे भज गोविन्दं भज गोविन्दं गोविन्दं भज मूढमते रथ्याचरपटविरचितकन्थ पुण्या पुण्यविवर्जितपन्थ योगी योगनियोजितचित्तो रमते बाणोन्मत्तवद्देव भज गोविन्दं भज गोविन्दं गोविन्दं भज मूढमते कस्त्वं कोऽहं कुत आयात कामे जननी को मे तात इति परिभावय सर्वमसारं विश्वं त्यक्त्वा स्वप्नविचारं भज गोविन्दं भज गोविन्दं गोविन्दं भज मूढमते So last week we saw that the man who is established in his real self has very few requirements, minimum requirements. Also, his actions don't flow from a planning like we do. Not that they are not planned actions, they are spontaneous actions. There is a difference between impulsive actions, planned actions, and spontaneous actions. Spontaneous actions, they flow from us because of us being in tune with the entire environment around us. So the actions of such a person are all spontaneous. Very important to know the difference between impulsive and spontaneous. So this person who is established in his true identity has very few requirements. His actions are all spontaneous, and he's always reveling, always joyful, like a child. Or the other analogy that they gave was that of a crazy person. As I had said in the last class as well, a crazy person is one whose reality is not the same as ours, who sees it differently. He lives in a different world, as we say. So this person also, his reality is not the same as ours. So it may seem to us, he's established in reality. We will see where we are. So because we do not see him living in the world, in the real world as we are living, he may appear crazy to us, but he's always joyful, always blissful. That describes the state of a realized person, a person who is awakened, whatever word we want to use, but he's established in his true identity. He has no personal agenda. Bruce Lee had given a beautiful analogy. He had said that the utility and the beauty of a cup is in its emptiness. Then it can be filled. So it's the same thing, that emptiness is not, some of us are empty with, it is a lacking. But this emptiness is, identity is gone, but he is full of joy. That there is that subtle difference. So and we had also said that the definition of yoga as given in the 6th chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Tam Vidya Dukkha Samyoga Viyoga Yoga Sangito, that all dissociation from sorrows is yoga. So this person is never miserable. And spirituality means refuse to be miserable. So now, how do we get to that state? Some pointers are given in this verse. There are two indications that there are two things that are done in this verse. One is, what should our line of inquiry be? And then he has given us an analogy of what our world is, and that he says is, this is a dream world. So these are the two things he gives. I'll read the meaning first from the book, and then I will explain it to you. So what is the inquiry we do? Who are you? Who am I? Where did I come from? Who is my mother? Who is my father? Inquire thus, leaving aside the entire world of experience. The world of experience is Vishwam. This world of experience is essenceless, not senseless, essenceless, and a mere dreamland born of imagination. Now, let us not get carried away by saying, is this a dream that I'm living? Some people say it in a very different, I'm living the dream. That's not what he's talking about here. So if we look at our lives, what are our lives? What is our life? It is from birth to death, a continuous series of experiences. We start experiencing when we are born, and we stop experiencing when we are dead. We can say that there is no experience in deep sleep, but when we wake up, we know that I experienced nothing. So the experience that we have in deep sleep is of absence of experience. Vedanta has analyzed all the 3 states of consciousness very beautifully. So this is what our life is. Experience start at birth for us and they end at death. Now, what is an experience? If you look at an experience, it is I, the subject, experiencing an object, not only I, the subject and the object, but there has to be a connection between me and the object. If that connection is missing, the experience does not take place, which means my mind has to back my experience. How often do we go with something in our hand and we are looking for that which we have in our hand? Or we have our glasses on and where did I put my glasses? Where did I put my glasses? Why does that happen? Because although I'm receiving the stimuli, my brain centers are also receiving the stimuli, but the actual experience hasn't taken place because that connection was missing. I remember that when mommy would ask us to go and get something and say, Mommy, dekha tu nati, Mommy, dekha tu nati. She would say, Mari aankhein thi jo, look with my eyes. And when we would go and look that way, we would find it. She would tell us exactly where it is. So that connection is not made. That is the point. So these 3 items or 3 things are absolutely essential for an experience to take place. Now, why did I talk about that? What happens in the dream? Do we experience a dream? All of us? Yes, we do. How real is the dream? The dream is very real for as long as it lasts. Now, who was the experiencer? Who was the subject in the dream? Who was the object in the dream? And where did that connection between the subject and the object come from? I became all that. Whatever my dream was, whatever I experienced, I was the experiencer, the experienced, and the connection between the 2. Now here let us not take this too seriously that, oh, this world is a dream. And it is an analogy for us to understand. The second thing is to understand is the reality. Now, if my money that I have in the waking world is real money, I have a big fat bank balance. And in my dream, I'm on the streets, I'm starving for just a piece of bread or a morsel of food. Can my wealth from the real world come and help me in the dream world? I cannot take it there. And vice versa. From the dream world, I cannot bring my wealth into my waking world. Now, people would say that is foolish to even expect it. But as long as the dream lasts, it is so real. And that money which I have in my dream world is very real. If I can use it to enrich my waking world. There's a very interesting story about Mullah Nasruddin. Mullah Nasruddin's wife woke him up one morning and he was so angry with her. She said, why are you so angry? I just woke up. He said, don't you realize I just received $1 million and I got a check and I was about to deposit it in the bank and you woke me up. You can see how futile it is. At least you should have allowed me to deposit that check in the bank account. That which we have in the dream world does not come into our waking world. And that which we have in the waking world does not go into the dream world. So the whole point is to question the reality. What is real? Waking world is with us for how long? We are awake for maybe 10 hours, 12 hours out of the 24 hours, fully awake. 8 hours we go to sleep out of 24 maybe. So some of us need, so 14 hours maximum we are awake. And how much reality we give to this state. So this has to be understood is mainly an analogy. So how do we function in our waking world? The whole point here is to first recognize that all that appears, what I experience as real may not be as it is. And we all have experienced this. Someone tells us something and we misunderstand it. We look at something and it looks different to us from what others, oh, I didn't see it that way. So what is and what our interpretation is are two different things. So first of all, we want to come to recognize the reality. To recognize the reality, we have to have the ability of a clear mind. To have a clear mind, we have to have a pure mind, a mind that is quiet, a mind that is not agitated, and a mind that is not desiring too much. I want this, I want that, and sees myself and is very selfish, cannot think even of my brothers, my sisters, my family. The more self-centered one is, the narrower the vision one has, the further away one gets from reality. So to grow in identity, first of all, not only to grow, also to live in such a way that one is more sharing, more caring, more giving, because that will lead us there. We don't have to give up anything immediately. And to live in such a way that we accept things that come our way. We do what we can where we are, but we do not, become a doormat either. And that was best shown by Krishna, by Arjuna in Mahabharata. They were willing to, okay, give us this much, give us this much. They wanted the kingdom, but when Duryodhana was not willing to give them the kingdom, they were willing to make compromises, to accept, to not fight unnecessarily. But until the end, when Duryodhana said not even as much as the tip of a needle, then it became a war of dharma. Now, this war of dharma has to be fought in such a way that the conflict is not within. The conflict is, you don't take injustice and put up with it beyond limits. You fight, but there is no conflict within. This is what the whole teaching of Gita is. Learn to accept, but if it is required to fight for righteousness, do it without conflict within. To surrender and to accept in life as what life brings us. Life may bring us joys, life may bring us sorrows, and then you start this inquiry. Who am I? When I start this inquiry of who am I, the question most of us will answer, I'm the son of my father, I'm the son of my mother. Really, is that then who is my mother? Is she also, the child of her parents? When we start inquiring, we find that it was not, I'm not the product of the seed of my father and the egg from my mother. There was life in them even before them. The seed and the egg are products of matter, food. But that life which I have, that spark of life, it was there, it existed even before, and it will exist even afterwards. It will always be there. So when we start that inquiry from where did I come? Kastvam, who are you? Koham, where did I come from? Kame Janani, who is my mother? Kome Tata. Then we will recognize that the identities we give ourselves, Sarvam Asaram, they are essenceless. What is of essence is that spark, that divinity which is inherent in each and every one of us. When I come to recognize that that is the essence, then this world will become what the analogy of dream says, that this world will also become essenceless. So he's giving us the line of inquiry, and he's telling us this world is essenceless, but that doesn't mean that right now I give up everything and say, oh, this is only a dream. And the beauty about the waking world is there are two things. We have choice and purushartha, the ability to do. So we have to choose with our intellect, because in the dream world, buddhi is knocked out. In the waking world, the buddhi is active. So we have to use the buddhi to lead us to that state. There is another a beautiful explanation that one of the Swamijis gave of why we say this dream is this world is a dream. The individual in the jiva, or the individual, is the dream character, he said. This whole world, this entire creation is the dream world. And the supreme dreamer is Ishvara, the Lord. This is Ishvara's dream. The difference between our dream and Ishvara's dream is Ishvara is aware of his dream. That is why it is called the play of divine or Maya. And we are ignorant of our true reality. I thought it was such a beautiful identity that we as dreamers have forgotten our true identity, whereas Ishvara knows is always aware of his identity, that he is the supreme Brahman. And when you wake up to that reality, we become the supreme Brahman. We are awakened to that reality. So what this does is we stop running after the illusory. What is the difference between delusion and illusion? And illusion, we all know that it is something that appears but has no existence. The difference is when we take that illusion for reality, it is delusion. I see a mirage and I take it to be an oasis or a body of water. I am deluded. I see a mirage and I see it as a mirage. It is an illusion. And when I see it as an illusion, I can enjoy the beauty of the illusion. So to really enjoy the world fully, we have to be established in that reality. So with that concludes this verse. We'll say our concluding prayers and then we will meet for some time. Oh. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukha bhag bhavet. How is Jalpa?
We have 4 minutes.
Jalpa Samrat, I can't hear you. I think you're on mute.
Now, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Yeah. Good, good. How is everything?
Everything is good.
Oh,
Ketan is at Pune.
oh, I
So
see.
me and Ilafi, both of us are there.
How is his work doing? Is he affected by COVID?
Bit થોડું થોડું લાઈન પર આવે વળી પાછું જતું રહ્યું છે. Slowly it will come.
It will come back.
I hope.
Yes. So the cases in India have started coming down, isn't it?
Down. Yes.
Lockdown
We have taken our first dose last year.
Huh?
Last Saturday. We have taken our first dose last Saturday.
Okay.
lockdown ચાલુ છે હજી
Yes.
હજી ચાલુ છે
7 to 2.
7 થી 2 એટલે 7 થી 2 લોકડાઉન કે 7 થી 2 ખુલ્લું
Saturday ખુલ્લું પછી બધું બંધ.
બધું જ બંધ
બધું જ. Except essential services, milk and medicine.
બજાર ને બધું બંધ
બધું બંધ.
તો પણ હવે કરવું જ પડે એવું છે
અમારા અમદાવાદમાં હવે આ મંડે થી 100% ઓપન એટલે ખાલી નાઇટ કર્ફ્યુ છે નાઇટ 9 to morning 6 કર્ફ્યુ અધરવાઇઝ ઓલ ઓપન
કારણ કે કોરોના રાત્રે નીકળે ને
પબ્લિક રાતના ભેગી થઈને ગપાટા મારે બીજું કઈ નહીં દિવસે તો ઓફિસ આવીને પછી 9 વાગ્યા સુધી ઘરે જમે કરે પછી ગપાટા મારવા નીકળે
ગઈકાલે અમદાવાદમાં બહુ વરસાદ આવ્યો
થોડો
કડાકા ભડાકા
ખાસો આવ્યો
હા
ગાજવીજ સાથે વરસાદ
ગાજવીજ સાથે ખૂબ જબરજસ્ત વીજળી વિડીયો આવી હતી મારી પાસે
મુંબઈમાં શરૂ થઈ ગયો વરસાદ
ના
ના
કશું નથી ઝાપટું નથી આવ્યું
મુંબઈ છેલ્લું વરસાદમાં
છેલ્લે આવે
નોર્મલી
છેલ્લું તો કલકત્તા,
પછી અમદાવાદ આવે.
right?
એકચ્યુઅલી હવે છેલ્લા 3 વર્ષથી બધું બદલાઈ ગયું છે 3 વર્ષનો ડેટા તમે
પહેલા
જોયો
પૂનામાં આવે છે
બોમ્બે નું વેધર બદલાઈ ગયું છે
પૂના આવે પછી બધે
જ્યાં બહુ પાપ થતો હોય ને ત્યાં વરસાદ મોડો આવે
આજે ભદ્રા
What about the black fungus? Any changes?
No treatment is
એ
going
બનાવટ છે
Well, basically, I mean, it's all negligence and
unhygienic condition
negligence and unhygienic condition and unnecessary use of lot of medicines.
Especially steroids.
Steroid
Yes.
જરૂર હોય ના હોય દે ઠોક આપી દેવાનો.
so it is caused by medicine
No,
as a reaction
steroid reduces your immunity.
okay
and increase the sugar level so it
so it could have been avoided
steroid induced sugar level so it enhances the growth for the fungus environment is enhanced by the fungus
And all the proper cleaning that is needed, it is not done properly.
hospitals માં ને મને
Hospitals, especially hospitals.